significant. It's significant. I think a lot of young people know how to use social media, but they don't know how to manipulate it to their end. And when it comes to job search, understand that employers are seeking out their social media profiles, and they can use that same profile not just for fun and staying in touch with friends, but they can also use it to position themselves as an expert in whatever it is they're studying. Therefore, if they're showing a lot of initiative and involvement in different organizations that are industry oriented, if they're writing articles, if they're stating opinions and putting it up there in a public place, it can work very positive. What you're hearing a lot about actually is the negatives of social media use. And yeah, there's some real bonehead things going on, and I would warn anybody watching this to please be careful what you're putting on there. Think about the future. I mean, fun is fun right now, but think about how it might impact you. Hiring managers are having to come around and deal with social media now the way they were 10, 12 years ago, having to deal with email. Email was a new, brave new world 10, 12 years ago, and now it's commonplace. And we all know, don't put anything in your email, and I would say don't put anything in your social media that you wouldn't want your mom to see, or that you wouldn't be okay defending on the front page of the New York Times. The intelligent job seeker, and I'm going to give everybody who's in college, whether you're looking for a certificate or a diploma, they have intelligence, okay? The trick is to use it to your advantage to position yourself, like I was just saying. It is critically important. The fact is, quite often now, after a resume is viewed and they determine maybe this is somebody we'd like to talk to, at that point, they're going to go out before they reach out to you. They're going to go out and look up your social media profile and determine, do we want to move forward with this person or do we want to let that person slip? So yes, it's incredibly important. And another thing that you need to understand is that social media is nothing more now than another form of communication. I mean, I imagine somewhere back when Alexander Bell, invented the telephone, there were people going, oh my God, don't say anything on the phone. How simple is that? But this is just another form of communication. Use it to your advantage always. It is a critical component of job search. There's a thing called triangulation. So I can take your name and your email address and potentially go triangulate and find your private personal email address or your private second or third Facebook page that you don't think anybody knows. I know of a situation where somebody had used their first and middle name as opposed to their first and last name, never thinking they'd be found. And of course it was found, and there were some pictures there. And there's other examples I've seen of indications of violence and racism and terrorism and all kinds of things. One was, I think this person was a member of the If You Hurt My Friend, I'll Kill You club. And maybe in the blush of anger or in the rush of defending somebody or something, you went and did something like that or said something like that. But once you hit submit, it is there. It's kind of like, it's not etched in stone, but could be. That's a great question, and I'll tell you why that's a great question. It depends very much on the culture and the need. I mean, let's face it, if you're going to go out and be a truck driver, and Lord knows we need lots and lots of truck drivers in this country, maybe something like that's not a big deal. You're pretty much solo, you're on your way down the road, whatever. Other cases where you're dealing with the public, you're in a retail position, or let's just say you're a rental car agency front desk person. Yeah, something like that may completely preclude you from getting the job. It's really going to matter a lot with the culture. I mean, the more conservative the business, let's say an IBM, let's say, something like that, a big bank or something like that, they're going to look at this stuff very, very closely. A smaller, more laid back business may not have a problem with it. So, and I'll tell you, there's going to be some stuff too that might be cute, funny, courageous, that you did that's a little outside the box, outside the norm, a little off the wall. That ad agency may just love you for that. So, think about these things. You can position yourself and, you're making a statement. Your personality is your Facebook page. And remember too, a lot of people aren't aware, but there's well over 300, 400 different social media platforms out there. So it's not a matter of just saying Facebook or LinkedIn or MySpace. There's tons and tons of major significant players, and we don't even know how many are coming to the forefront right now. This business is about pre-hire background screening based on a person's social media profile. And then secondly, it is about monitoring existing employees and what they may be doing on their social media profile that could impact the business, both positive and negative. So the idea is in the pre-screening is to potentially save a company money. It's also about redacting any protected class information, for instance, race, religion, etc., those kind of things. So it protects both parties. It's a really important concept, this protecting both parties. It is also, the company is about basically assuming any liability and mitigating any problems the company may have, in the sense that if they Google you and they Google me, we're going to come up with different responses. So therefore, it's not treating you and I fair in the hiring process. So this covers that. Another problem, or not a problem, but the monitoring of employees on the job, and you don't necessarily want to monitor the entire population, but let's say the IT development staff or the sales staff or somebody who might be disclosing proprietary information, you want to know about that kind of thing. And it happens all the time, of disclosing of proprietary information on a public platform. Now, two of the things you need to understand is, one of them, this is only public information. This is what's on the surface. There's no friending anybody and going deeper. And the other component to this is, like I said earlier, it's about protecting the individual, the candidate, as well as protecting the company. And the social monitoring, what's really important about this monitoring of a person, employee, an existing employee, is that the company has to absolutely mandatorily have a social media policy in place, and every person working at that company needs to sign off on it, understand it, know it, that what they can be doing on and off the job might impact their employment. Positive is to use any social media platform you're on and express yourself as an expert or a want-to-be expert. In other words, let's say you had a class, an architectural class, for instance, and you've read some papers and you saw some articles and you comment on those things, and you're always showing that you're in the mix. You're always right there on top of whatever's new and trendy. Maybe you have some opinions, some ideas, but always express yourself as an expert. One of the things that I tell young people when it comes to writing their resume is it's okay to use a class that they aced or they really did well in, and then get a recommendation from the professor to, tail on that later on and when you go get references. So I would say this is a way of doing that. In the same way, also get people who are experts in the field, professionals, once again, professors, teachers, that would maybe come on and comment on your original comment, and see if you can't use that to enhance your position. It kind of goes back to what I've said before. A summer internship is almost the same as an extra year of college, and that's really important. This can also be seen as that same sort of thing. Hiring managers want to see somebody who's involved and invested in that profession, whatever that profession might be. Bottom line is be smart. That's the bottom line. Be smart. It's really important. Try to think out, not 30 days, not a year, but maybe 3 to 5 years. This stuff can bite you. I mean, think about a politician who runs, and they run on their record, which might go back 20, 30, 35 years. It's amazing the stuff that gets pulled up. It's just amazing. This is the kind of stuff that will be pulled up on our future politicians 15, 20 years down the road. I mean, let's just plan on it. Mark my words.